Yeah.
And play with my puppy.
Hey, we need that balance, don't we?
Yeah, I've been here like every day, busting butts. So.
Hello,
Hi,
hello.
welcome. Yep. Probably the same way to me too. What?
Somebody asked me about sound back here. And who it was? It was just, I think it might have been Jody.
Okay.
So I asked her.
So just remember that the key.
Yep. Not this Saturday, next Saturday. 6:30 to 7:30-ish.
All right, somebody's here.
Good, 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 good.
All right, I'm giving away tomatoes. Anybody want
I
tomatoes?
just took home a bunch and made pizza with them.
Hello. Hello. Do you want tomatoes?
Sure.
You want any tomatoes?
Sure. We're gonna have seven, we're going out of town tomorrow morning for 4 or 5 days.
Okay.
Everybody's on.
And then you come back on Tuesday. Oh, I forgot my folder. No, we didn't do homework.
That's okay, don't worry about that. You still good.
Well, I still have my shirt.
Do you want me to take?
My volunteer
No?
shirt.
All right.
All right, that's cool.
We do many people in the hospice
Get
for
military.
veterans and put a flag on them. Finish certificate. This guy's wife was crying today. She was just so overwhelmed with the ceremony. It's just a ceremony where you have a preacher who says prayer, and they read something about the veterans, and then they have a certificate. And they read a story, and a flag on it.
Where's me?
There's some nice words.
I would do that too.
Awesome, awesome. Well, welcome, welcome. Nice to see you.
You do. I'm the only one who got the folder. Bad student. Never been a bad student my whole life. Do you want any
Right
tomato?
there,
I'm
so I
giving away
could
Terminally ill. And,
We'll do it afterward. He's guarding, Gazillion. This is only a small portion. You don't eat them
This
in
guy
the old
today
bag.
this guy today went in his 50s. He got out in 62. I got in 62. Got out in 2020.
He was
So we
growing
were
like,
too far
there
apart.
a mailbox in the front, taking
Except he's
over
had a
the
stroke.
flowers.
But
I don't want to leave
People
him
my
up there. He
age.
doesn't care. He just will leave it there.
it's such
Takes
4
me
days on this thing.
out to the neighbor. I go, what is he doing?
How do they make combining help?
He told the neighbor, like, I'm got surgery.
I'm gonna keep my hips and just transplant the rest of them.
Be nice to have this kind of transplant.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I wish.
Hillary?
Putin and that Chinese dictator are talking about extending their life
You want
transplants.
to live near 150.
I'm saying, yeah, I want to be 150. I'm saying, well, their brain probably won't last that long.
Probably not.
I know people who have had brain surgery to make one side of their brain do everything because the other side of their brain didn't function.
Wow. The guy that used to run Reynolds, he bought us out. We had lunch with him one day, not by choice, he just sat down at our table, but he talked about cryogenics. And he wanted to have his frozen. He's dead now. I don't know where his brain went, but he's gone.
Everyone else.
Well, I'd like to, I think we're ready to get started. Welcome back, and I hope you all had a good day.
Wonderful.
One day with Kara.
day.
Meetings. So next Tuesday is the next meeting, the last one. And we're going to have some cool video clips on that one that I think you'll enjoy. And my husband is going to share some things about thoughts and how our thoughts
influence everything, and how it hooks in with meditation. Because when you sit in meditation, have you noticed your thoughts?
Yeah.
A lot of times we don't listen to our thoughts. We really believe we are our thoughts. And meditation, as we talked about, is stepping back and observing our thoughts as if they were us. And that's a key thing. Because when you can start to step back and observe, you have a choice. And you can make decisions from there. We talked about meditation being empowering for that reason. Because that gives you the power to choose and not just be a victim all the time in your life, in your mind. As people age, they particularly notice how active their mind is. Seems like it got worse over time, you know? And it's interesting about how a lot of habits continue over time, and we just don't question them. So next week, Joe will talk a little bit about some of that stuff, which is really fun, actually, very much. I was wanting to talk about, before we go into our meditation, because I'm going to talk about some ways that meditation can be improved. It was in your folder. Some of you may or may not have a chance to look at it, but we'll review it a little. And, don't worry about that. And then we're going to do some pre-meditation, and then we're going to meditate for a little bit. Okay? Now, first of all, we talked about the pop bottle, where all the little bubbles come up and stuff, and how you have to start calming those down. Let them happen. Don't fight them. Doesn't do you any good. Makes it more bubbles come up because you're thinking about it. You don't want to generate more bubbles. You just want to start letting go of the thoughts that pop up. Now, sometimes when you're meditating, you might feel a restlessness of your body and mind, especially as you sit a little longer. We talked about those stages you can go through. Brainwave shifting. The idea of doing some pre-meditation to the point where you're starting to feel a lot calmer already. The thoughts may not be so active as they were when you first started your pre-meditation routine. So you want to go, oh, I'm feeling a lot more relaxed. You might be starting into alpha state more. And then it's a good time to go into meditation. You don't want your pre-meditation to be, oh, I've got to do this. Do you want to do it if you say, I got it? No. Meditation is inviting your mind to want to sit down or to want to do some of these relaxing things. Okay, that's why when we talked about setting up a routine last week. Did anybody find a place that they would like to meditate at their house? No?
Exactly.
I found one. No one else found a place to meditate?
I'm kind of trying different spots.
Yeah, you want it to be comfortable, first of all.
Yeah.
And you want it to be at a place that maybe you don't have to change too much.
Right.
Because you want to set up what we call a sacred space for yourself. You know, we go to meetings, we go to churches, we go to different things because we want to feel that environment and everything that's nice. Well, you're going to set it up at home. That's the whole idea. And also, it's right here. Meditation helps you set this up as your, what I would call sacred space. There's a lot of different terms for it, but the kingdom of heaven is in here, within yourself. So that's what meditation is about, is connecting to that. But it's also nice to understand that we are affected by our environment. If we have a pleasant area set up, and you do it fairly frequently, meditate there, or go there to calm down, your mind is going to want to go there more often. It's going to go, oh yeah, it's time to calm. And you want to invite it with a smile, as if you're inviting, oh man, we're going to have a great time. So let's talk about one of the things we did was bouncing, remember? And last night, it was tried.
Okay. Did you bounce, Anna?
I did.
Okay.
Sometimes the bouncing, for example, is just one way. You may not be comfortable doing a bouncing, especially in public. But that's something where if you're at home and you start to feel that, we know research tells us that that does start the calming. It's just the motion of your body affects the brain. Okay? So as you go through the meditation, if you get restless, don't stop. What people often do is, oh, I got 10 minutes in and I got restless, so I stopped. It takes about 20 minutes to start to go through a brainwave change. So when you start to feel restless, you can look around, smile again, just kind of wake up and say, okay, that's all right, let's try it some more. Let's go back and do it some more. When we talk about the spiritual connection of inviting whatever the God power is, or if you're a Jesus person or a Buddha person or whatever, or you have spiritual guides, invite them in. There's angels you can invite in. And their angelic realm is very interesting because intention, remember we're talking about focusing our ability to focus? You use that for intention. And that can also draw in angels. Because you're putting the intention out there. Not that you'll see an angel. Okay, I'm not saying that. But it is something that in time you will start to feel that this area that you've been meditating in is really feels good. Okay? So please don't give up. If you get restless mentally or physically, shake it off. Say your word more quickly, and then slow it down. Because as you slow the pace, it'll start to calm your system more. Okay? Another thing, when you sit down to meditation and you want to get ready, you can imagine that you have a drawer, you pull it out, and you put all of your concerns, all the worries, all the concerns, all the to-do lists, put it in there for a while and shut it. Sometimes visual images actually help the brain and the body to do something, respond more. Now, if you put on a timer, let's say you want to start with 20 minutes. 20 to 30 is really great. 30 is a really nice, another shift. But 20 minutes, let's see if you can try that. Even 10 minutes, but if you put a 20 and understand that you're going to get restless, it's okay. Just like the thoughts are going to come up, it's okay. Everything's good. You can put the timer on for maybe 20 minutes if you think you won't sit that long or want to sit that long. You know, I think, Andy, you said it was 20, 30 minutes, you all of a sudden did it and didn't even think about the time.
Yeah, last night went fast.
Yeah, because as you become more focused and, you know, here and saying your words slowly and letting thoughts gone, pretty soon timelessness comes in. And you'll go to different levels of awareness, different brainwave states, all of that. It's pretty cool. So if you find yourself getting really like, oh, and this is boring, that's when you got to do a pre-meditation thing again. You got to do a little more something to calm it down. That just then started to ratchet up again. And never judge a meditation, even 5 minutes, as fruitless. Every time you sit and start a technique, it's fruitful. It is helping you. You're training that mind. Okay? So it's never, don't ever think, oh, what's 5 minutes? That's nothing. Try the best you can and sit longer, but that's okay. Every time you sit. And remember, you're not accomplishing anything. You know what the mind is trained to think? This has to work. This has to happen. Oh no, this isn't happening. I must be doing it wrong. Oh no, this isn't working. Remember, this is a process that never ends. It's not like all of a sudden you're enlightened. You know? It's a process. You're going to go, oh, it doesn't matter what happens. You're going to observe what happened with your body. What happened with any emotions that did come up? What happened with some thoughts that came up that you had trouble letting go of? You know, you may have to think about that for afterwards. Some people like to keep a notebook and write down when a thought comes up and they get obsessed on it, they write it down and then go back to meditate. I'll deal with this mind works well with that. If we put it on paper, we can again distance from it. Go, yeah, it's there, I'm not gonna forget. Let me come back and enjoy being here, just saying my word, just being in the space and beautiful space in front of me. These are this technique is for me. So it's important to understand that you're going to be and not think or do. I had talked about that in one class one time, and this young woman went, I never thought of that. I never thought I could just be. That's what meditation is. Learning to go to a state that is other than just thinking and doing. And you start to feel what it feels like to kind of be you at a deeper level. It's very powerful to do that. Again, thoughts, when we just step away from them, you can either write them down or say, oh, I'll talk with you later. Come back. Okay. Sometimes you get sleepy at first. Especially if you do your pre-meditation nicely. You're going to start relaxing already. So you get into the meditation, you get sleepy because slow repetition, the mind, your body, when we repeat things, starts to relax. Interesting thing again about the body and mind connection. We talked about rocking back and forth, and that starts to calm. Don't forget rocking, it can be very nice. If you do get real sleepy, you can just shake it off again and go, oh,
That's why I did that
okay.
as a kid.
Let me go back and bring my awareness up. When your eyes go down, like for instance when we get sleepy, we want to keep our eyes forward if we can, because that keeps us more present. A little less thoughts we talked about. Okay? Not that thoughts won't come up. And remember, don't worry that you're doing meditation wrong. You can't do it wrong. You may not be doing the technique quite the same way as explained, but just sitting and letting the thoughts go and being present, and there's lots of different meditation techniques that are out there we'll start doing. Okay? So remember, that's the key. Reprogramming what you've been programmed your whole life. Gotta accomplish something or it's not worth it. Oh, what's wrong with me? Judging ourselves. There's all these thoughts that we're programmed into that we want to start letting go of. We go, that's not true. I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm doing what I can do. This is great. You know? It's like gratitude. People talk a lot about gratitude because gratitude takes us into the positive, which all of us do have in our lives somewhere. Even if we're going through a difficult time, and when you start to shift to a more positive thought, you start to relax. Whenever you get upset about anything, stop and notice what's happening here. You may not have ever noticed it. It's just something you automatically do. And you can choose, oh yeah, like you're saying, shoulders need to go. You know? I know that I was doing a lot of stuff today. I had a lot of to-do list, and I suddenly realized that my jaw was clenching. And I stopped and went, oh, let me let that go. But I went. Because if you do it more frequently, noticing these things, pretty soon it's not like real hard to do. It's like you begin to know how to let it go. Shoulders, same thing. We all have areas that tense up more than other areas. Some people are stomach people. I have several people that were never hungry. Very thin, were never hungry. And when I started to help open them up to open up the diaphragm and the stomach, you know, with relaxation and stuff, all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I'm starving. You know, it's because some people, this area tightens up too much. Some people have a lot of breathing difficulties because the diaphragm is the part that gets. So you want to start being aware of your body, yours is a little different than someone else's, similar but different. You want to know, what am I going to do to relax? Yeah, get that going. Now I'm going to do some pre-meditation stuff, and then we're going to meditate for a little bit, okay? Now, remember the technique is, you're just gonna, when you get to the meditation part, you don't think of your breath during this technique, because your focus is on thinking a word, and your awareness in here. For this technique, what's a deeper level technique than a lot of the others out there, you're going to forget about the body and the world around you, and you're going to become very focused on a very still point, they call it. Very still place here. So that's why your eyes should be straight but relaxed. It's like, you're not pulling it forward, you're not trying to see anything, okay? Not trying to see anything. What's the space in front of you? There it is, your eyes are relaxed. You're going to say your words slowly in the back of your mind. But the awareness is, what might come in front of me? I want to be ready. I want to learn to wait. I want to learn to receive. This is a very receiving type of meditation too, okay? Oh, I wonder what might come here, because I don't know. We're not going to imagine anything in this technique. There's other techniques that I will be sharing today that are focused, that's imaging, okay? That could be great too. But if you want to go to the next level, it's nice to do one type of meditation that gets you going, and then shift to this one if you can, because it'll take you a step deeper, okay? And when you're out during the day, walking around or waiting in line, you really can't listen to a guided meditation, can you? No. So you want a technique like this one where you can just say the word slowly in your mind and be present. Here, just be present. The awareness, actually, when you're just having your straight, is a little above your eyes. Don't think about it because you're not looking up. It's in front of you, but there's a bit of a shift up just a little of your attention. And you might start to notice that. And that's not your eyes, because you're not trying to look with your eyes, so you want your eyes to be straight. Some people go, oh, I gotta look up. No. That changes everything. That'll give you a headache.
But we still have our eyes closed.
Eyes are closed.
Okay.
But there's that space in front of you. It might be black, beautiful black. It might be a little lighter. It might be gray. It might be light. It doesn't matter. You're just going to be there, being present to whatever is in front of you. Just waiting. Okay, that's the main part of this technique. When thoughts come up, which they do, you're practicing bringing your awareness back. Okay, there it is. I'm going to come here. Remember, we're talking about repetition. Just like when you're in the gym, you've got to do the reps to get strong. The more that you practice letting a thought go and not following it, that's the practice of coming back. That's going to be the great benefit for you during the day as well. Thought comes up and you're going to be used to, oh, I'm going to let it go. So again, this is a technique that you can use all day, whatever you need to. Okay? Get to a stoplight, or you're driving and that person's driving you nuts. No, you just say your words slowly, just be present. You know, let things go. You're going to let things go. Don't run them. You're going to let things flow and go. So you start to enjoy the flow of life more. Doesn't mean we don't clutch at times. Of course. It's an automatic response with the brain. But you catch it. You go, oh, why am I whining? No, I can let it go. I don't have to judge everyone. Don't judge yourself either, because we are beautiful beings of light. Conscious beings. And that's who you really are. So this is just stuff we have to carry. Don't worry about it. Okay? All right. I'll see what time this is. Okay. Now, I'm going to start you out with moving. So let's stand up. And hopefully you're comfortable enough to bounce with this. If or if you're not good with your legs, that's different. Remember, your knees and hips may not do well with bouncing. If they don't, you just bend them slightly and just move the upper part. But otherwise, you just bounce like this. And be like a rag doll. Smile! You gotta smile. Like even with meditation, when you start your meditation, smile! Yeah, and giggle. You gotta look at each other and smile and laugh. You know what I mean? And then don't forget to let the tension come out of your arms, hands, everything, you know. The twist, don't forget the twist when we were young. There's lots of things we did when we were young that were great. Yeah. Oh yeah, just feel your body. Now take deep breaths through the mouth. Out of your side. It's a good thing to do when you first wake up in the morning, actually. Pick the day. And sighing is very nice for your body because your brain goes, oh, we're relaxing. Now let's just kind of sway a little bit. Same thing, sway and go. And you're going to let go of everything. You're going to let go of the world around you. Just be here now with you. Very nice. Okay, so you can go ahead and sit down. And I'm going to bring my bowl around.
This is pre-meditation, that's pre-med.
Yeah, you have to talk to that. Gently breathe normally. Close your eyes. Focus your awareness. And spend some time in saying your peaceful word quietly in the back of your mind. Slower but peacefully. Just feel that peace in you. Relaxing, calming, waiting for whatever beautiful might come to you. Forgetting about everything, your body and the world around you. going with it when you get sooner. Any questions about the meditation? No? No one's okay with that? Okay, good. What I'm going to do today is share a lot more pre-meditation things with you, other ways of calming, okay? And a bunch of them. Okay, we talked about movement. We talked about walking. How to do mindful walking meditation, or walking meditation, we call it. What meditation is focusing, right? Letting thoughts go. That's what meditation is. So, people have labyrinths. I know you have one here. There's a portable one. There are some that I'm sure that are permanent that you can go to as well. But the key to a walking meditation, and there's different ways to do that. That can be a whole workshop in itself. But one of the main thing is be conscious of what's happening when you lift your foot. Just move your leg. Put the heel down. Feel it. Feel it. Be present to the feeling of your body when you walk. Okay? So it's very much in, as you do, let's say you're at a labyrinth, and there's many ways to do the labyrinth. And let's say your intention is, while you're walking, some people use it as they're walking slowly, they're thinking of a phrase or something, okay? That's one attention of doing. In other words, they're moving, but they're thinking of maybe a phrase or a prayer or something, or a calming word. Then there's the walking that's very conscious of your body. Okay, so instead of thinking something up here, you're totally focused on how it feels in your body to walk. How are you feeling? And putting all your awareness there. At the end, before you get ready to leave, we can do a little quick one where you can walk a little bit and see if you can feel that at all. Okay, so that's one type of being present to walking. Some people like to do it back and forth in their house because it's raining. Or they like to go out someplace and down a sidewalk that's peaceful, that's quiet. You don't want a sidewalk with lots of people because you have to watch what happens then. You don't want to get shot over. Dancing. Now it sounds crazy to think dancing, but dancing is a nice pre-meditation. You know, we talk about movement. Sound. Dance to music. Sing to the music. Hum to the music. Remember humming? That's very, very powerful to do. Visuals. Now we talked about the physical. We talked about sound. I have some more stuff on sound for you to listen to as well. But also, visuals are helpful. And I'm going to show you something called a mandala. Okay? And here's a mandala sticker. Actually. And what you do is you put it someplace where it'd be eye level to you. Okay? And you actually put your awareness in the middle of the mandala. So it's helping you to focus your attention, staring straight at that. And that can be a very nice pre-meditation for this as well, practice. The inner one I've been teaching you. Because as you're putting, and some people like to take a white piece of paper and put a big black spot on it. And then they put it across from where they're meditating, and they just stare into that black spot till they start to feel that mind calm down a little, and then close their eyes and go into the meditation. Okay? So I'm going to show you something. Because you can get this on the internet. You can run it off or anything. Joe?
Yeah.
Joe, how do I get this to go again? Oh, maybe it's going to go. Let me see. Okay. Now this is interesting. This is a guided meditation actually that I have up here now. First. Maybe we'll listen a little bit to what a guided meditation sounds like. That'll take you into the mandala, okay? So. Oh, you have it attached.
Hold on.
I have to do something because I can't
Bring a soft focus to the sensations of breathing, feeling the gentle rise and fall of each inhalation and exhalation. No need to control your breath in any way. Simply observe.
How's that? Can you hear that? Okay, close your eyes.
You
and
may
just
notice the gentle expansion of your belly filling with air on the in-breath, and the breath releasing, your belly deflating on the out-breath.
Just breathing for a few minutes. Being conscious of the belly breath up and down.
See if you can stay tuned into these sensations through a few breathing cycles, riding each wave of the breath consciously. This tuning into your present experience is mindfulness in its simplest form. When you find your mind wandering from the breath into thoughts of the past or future, that is okay. This happens countless times in any meditation. Just gently return focus to this next breath without any self-judgment. And again, feel the next in-breath and out-breath consciously.
There are different kinds of breathing meditations on focus on the breath. Sometimes people count. They'll say count 1, 2, 3, 4, hold it 1, 2, let down 1, 2, 3, 4. The only problem I have with that one is your mind is thinking words, thinking numbers. What I prefer, and I think is more powerful, is what she was just doing, which is where you just feel the breath. You want to feel your body. You want to focus on the feeling of the breath filling up the belly and up to the chest, and then feel it go all the way out. Down, down. That kind of breath is calming, and it's not feeding the mind as much. The focus is on the body, because having body awareness and calming this body is part of the movement stuff as well. You're talking about the body using that. Okay? Now here's a mandala. It's one of my favorites because I love purple. And what you do when you have something like this, you can run it off the computer or get it run off. It's online. I can also send it to you. But then you can put it across from you again if you want to try this kind of focusing meditation. They actually have books where you color in. I have one of those too, where you color in. You start on the outside with the color, same color. Next color differently, all the way till you get to the middle. And that's, again, a focusing with color, etc., into the middle. So mandalas can be very popular with people, depending upon if you want to use that for prevent. Here's a blue one. You might prefer the blue. There's lots of different colors. I like the white center on this one too. Here's an interesting one. When you focus in the middle of this, because of the way it goes out, there's a very interesting sensation. So this, I have done different ones with different groups and people, and they each have different ones they like. Some like this one, some like the other. That's why I like to show those that are good for common that I particularly like. Okay, let's see. What's this one? Okay, now I like to go also to sound. I don't want to completely forget about other aspects of sound, because I did this one song last week. This one is an Indian flute. And I want you to listen to that with your eyes closed and see how that feels for you. He's a very famous flute player. How does that feel for you guys? Anyone like that? That can be, notice that the flute has specific tones on this more. And last week we talked about, at least I did with the sound group, tuning forks have certain frequencies. So one of the nice things about this kind of one, the flute, it goes to different frequencies as well, and it's very, stays with it a little bit, which is very calming to the system. Notice it's slow. You know, it's not like this. Slow. The nervous system goes, oh, calm. The brain waves go, oh, we're less active. So things that are very flowing like that are very helpful for pre-meditation or any time that you feel you need to calm. Okay? So there are a lot of nice things like that. I'd also like to do, but I mentioned tuning forks. Some of you are here for the sound one, some of you weren't. Tuning forks have specific frequencies, and they're also related to the diatonic scale, I think they call it, where it's like A, B, C, D, F, G, you know, the 8 octave. C and G is particularly nice to use. There are many different frequencies. And that's, so as an individual, what you like. This one expert on sound, long-term expert on sound that I took a course from, he said this is such a particularly universal one, combination to use. So some people like to use tuning forks for calming because they can just sit and listen to it, you know, just like the bowls, the singing bowls. That's, all of those are wonderful for pre-meditation. Did you notice how you felt when you listened to that bowl? It almost immediately starts to calm you because it has different frequencies going on at the same time as well. And Sarah has a gong which can do similar thing. You set it up and you bang it and sit in front of it. And it really is powerful. These bowls are called sitting gongs. So, I forgot to tell you about, some people like to set up, there's, you know, when they sit in meditation, have a shawl. Because, and they use that shawl over and over, and again, and one of the nice things about a shawl is it makes you feel here. It's almost like it encompasses you, and it's more like, right here. It's also very much like a cocoon, yes. And you know, it's interesting because different movements, different things will make the nervous system and the brain respond in a certain way. This is one of the calming things. That's why historically, and some people like to do this, whatever feels good. You don't need a shawl, but it's one of those nice little things to have that, again, is part of a routine that you set up, that you put your shawl on at some point when you get ready to, sit down or whatever. And it is something, some people like noise-canceling headphones. Some people like to have little earplugs so that the sound around them is not distracting as much, depending upon where you are. Also, I noticed for myself, the headphones just feel, again, here. It's encompassing me and closing me a bit in another way, and it's very comforting. So there are things like that. Eye masks, like the night masks. Some people like those when they really want to go into this internal, being present to the internal state with that meditation. It can be very nice as well. Even if it's not dark, light around you. It depends. Again, it's how your body responds to some of these tools that you might want to try. One of the things I used to do with our learning disability children, we would test them, especially the ADHD children, the hyperactive children, because we would try to do some of these kinds of calming things with them, and one of the things that we found out was texture. They've done research on that what feels a certain way can be calming. We used to have fur. Used to have cats, and my touching, cutting my cat's fur was very calming to me. I love that. Also, people like the feel of stones or crystals. Have you ever heard of a worry stone? That's because they found that when you take a worry stone and you go like this against that smoothness, it's calming. Again, the body movement and feeling tactile as well, the body and brain respond to that. So use your senses as well to start the calming process. The sense of hearing we've been talking about, the visual, what you see, what you taste actually. Some people like to have a little taste of a piece of chocolate or something, or candy or something, or whatever. You don't want to get your body, you don't want to be meditating right after you eat, because your whole system is going into digestion. Okay, so usually people wait about an hour after they eat to meditate, or before eating or whatever. And you know what? Make a ritual of a little cup of tea, a little bit of coffee, because if those of you who tolerate caffeine, a little bit of coffee or tea with a little caffeine actually can help wake up your system a little more, so you're not as sleepy. They actually have done research on that too. But this is the kind of thing that if you touch and feel, you can go ahead and feel things if you want. I've got a lot of crystals. I love crystals. Also, the color of a crystal. People sometimes look and say, "Ooh, that crystal cluster is really pretty." Put at your meditation place things that visually are beautiful for you. You might have a picture of a scene that you really like looking into, that's calming to you. There was this one artist that's very popular. I couldn't even his name. But he had a lot of little cottages and light would come into that. He's light a lot in his pictures in cottages and stuff, because those were very calming to people. That's why people like them. What's another sense? Smelling. We know that the sense of smell goes to the brain faster than any other sense. Isn't that interesting? They've done it, like we talked about, I think last time, we go into like an open house. What do they have? They got baking cookies, baking bread, because the sense of smell takes us very quickly to memories. Sound, music, also does the same thing. Certain songs. There's a wonderful whole thing that they've done with people who have severe dementia, where they actually have they program songs that they liked when they were young. There's a wonderful video that was done that we had. What was the name of it?
Alive Inside.
Alive Inside, wonderful. All about seeing these people suddenly wake up.
I have a friend who had a stroke about 3 years ago, and she can't talk. She can say just a couple of words.
Yeah.
If you put on a Beatles song, Fleetwood Mac, or the Eagles,
Yep.
she knows the words and can sing.
Exactly.
It's
They,
amazing.
on this video, this guy had done this as an experiment, you know. And so there was this one person, guy, who had been in the nursing home for like 10 years and hadn't spoken. Said we're responding to the people. Just wasn't responding. So he found the music that his daughter said he liked. They said he put the headphones on, this, that, and all of a sudden he started looking around. He came alive. It's like he was back, and he could talk. He remembered the lyrics again, and it was like his daughter was so excited because she hadn't seen him looking at her and all this for a long time. So it's a wonderful little video about called Alive Inside. We've got two types of well, they're based on incense, but they're oils, essential oils. I like 100% essential oils because they don't have all the other junk in them. So this one is actually called Nag Champa. If you go into Hindu temples, they have the incense that they often will have in there called Nag Champa. It's a combination of a couple of different oils or essences. And I like, some people love this, some people don't. It's going to be individual, what smell you love. So what I do is this. I don't put it in the environment because then you're going to be smelling that the whole time you're meditating and distract you. You kind of don't want the senses to distract you while you're meditating. This is pre-meditation. So take a deep breath and hold it, and you can smell it then. You smell?
Mm-hmm.
Take a deep breath. But if you take a deep breath and hold it, then it lasts a little longer. Some people like it, some people don't. Oh, that's interesting. This is one of my favorites. It has some sandalwood in it.
I feel like I can smell it in my throat.
Yeah, that's nice too. Yeah. Well, before you meditate, I recommend not having the strong aroma in your house or in the room. That's what you did just before to open up that part. Like the other thing is peppermint. They've done research on peppermint and lavender, particularly. And peppermint and lavender both relax the nervous system. Peppermint also wakes it up. Yeah, very Christmassy. Candy canes, you know what I mean? Well, just take it, breath in, and you hold it. And that helps you to really get up into your nasal passages. So, yeah. So anyway, the sense of smell is a simple thing you can have if you like the sense of smell. Because when you bring in your senses to prepare for meditation, you're starting that calming process. All of these things that I'm sharing with you are known to help the parasympathetic system activate. Okay? And that's what we're looking for your meditation. Okay, there's also meditations you can get online, on CDs, on YouTube, for example, that are, for example, chakra meditations. Those are meditations that simply work with the color, because color is very powerful. And color also has a frequency, just like sound has a frequency. So we don't think of it that way. But there have been here and there cases of blind people from birth who are able to tell color by their sense of feel. Because there's a slight energetic thing. Some people are sensitive to the energy. Have you ever felt like, oh, I know it's women anyway for sure, I don't know about the guys, but oh, I feel like that color today. Oh, that's the color that attracts me today, you know? Or, oh, I always tend to buy a blue or a purple, you know? I'm always or green, whatever. There's often something with the color that is your body's responding to on an unconscious level, and it's calming, okay? That's why music is interesting. They find that like Mozart and Bach, animals calm down faster with this music. Then, because those are done in such a way, those old ones, that actually help the nervous system to calm. I'm not so sure about heavy metal. But it is something that people like. So, I mean, it does something else for people. But when you're trying to calm the nervous system, you might want to look at those kinds of, and that's why they actually have so many nice CDs on YouTube that are for those sounds that calm the nervous system. They don't have a lot of beat. They don't have a lot of any words. They're just sounds that help that nervous system to respond. Because remember, the vagus nerve is the longest nerve, cranial nerve in the body. It starts up here in the cranial area. The brain goes all the way down to all the organs. And that's part of the and it activates the parasympathetic, which is the calming nervous system. Okay? So that's why things that do activate that, which can be sound, is one of those things, and all these other things are activating that vagus nerve. Some people like a candle to focus on. I had one lady in meditation group out west that she just loves. She meditates, she lights a candle and she just looks into the flame. And that helps her, she likes focusing on the flame. Some people do. And that's meditation. Because it takes her into this very still state as she gazes into it. So that's a kind of a common one. We talked about chanting, I think. Let's see. I'm looking for this one chanting that I really like. I don't know if I put it up here now. Yeah, this is, I like Krishna Das. He's actually an American, but he's studied chanting in kirtans for so many years, and his music sound, his voice is amazing. He has such a wonderful energy. And kirtans, again, are a Hindu practice where one person chants something, and then the other group chants it too. A group of people chant it. One person in group, one person in group. Of course, there's also Gregorian chants. Those are very nice. Those are also designed with tonality and words to calm the nervous system, to bring you in. Because historically, meditation has come from spiritual traditions. And when you go to most churches or temples, don't you hear a bell? A lot of times they have the church bells. That's actually something because it's calming. And when people go deeper into meditation, sometimes they'll hear bells. It's one of the early sound things people can hear. So there's certain things, if you look at many traditions of spiritual rites, rituals, etc., they also have singing. Okay? And they also have spiritual reading. Some people like to take a spiritual book or a reading and they read it as a passage as part of their pre-meditation because it brings them to want to be sitting with a higher power. It brings up that feeling of wanting to be present to the God within, whatever you want to call it, universal consciousness. It's all one big, huge, wonderful consciousness that we're a part of. But it brings up a devotional feeling for some people. In Beaver Creek, they have a Hindu temple, and on Tuesday nights, they have a certain kind of religious program, like they get together and they sing, and the priest does some stuff, but it's really, really wonderful energy, and it's brings up the music, everything that they use, and the chanting is very good for pre-meditation. I would like to go there and just sit and listen, meditate, get into that, because it's such a beautiful ceremony as well.
That's what Vicky was talking about in meditation, that same temple in Beaver Creek.
And that's a Hindu based. Yeah, it's very nice. They're very nice people. I used to do meditation many years ago.
So anybody can go on Tuesday night?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm not sure what the time anymore is. I haven't done it the last couple of years. But you just basically close your eyes again and just listen. He's a little older there, but it's, you notice there's a rhythm in the background to it. And that rhythm, again, is very well tuned into our nervous system. So that gentle rhythm. And people like to sing the kirtan part, the part where everyone sings together. And so and it's usually a simple phrase like that one. So that's one of the things you can do is that's what Hindus often have as part of their religious thing. They'll have the priest will sing and then the people will sing. Or they'll have so anyway. Yes.
Yeah, we have traditional yoga, Shakti Bhakti, who's been here, and they do the kirtan for us. And they're going to be back here November 8th.
Okay.
It's amazing.
You might want to come and watch that because that's a nice one. And you can go on YouTube and actually they have the words so you can sing with it if you like to do something.
Yeah, they put it up on the...
Yeah, up on the screen, yeah.
That's great.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And that's the kind of stuff that you can find, like you can't always go to some place, you know what I mean?
Right.
Have it live. You can always go on YouTube and you can find different ones like that. Krishna Das has a number of other ones that I love, like one of the things I like about his energy of his voice, because he's very devotional. He's very centered person. And especially if you listen to his older ones too. Breath of the Heart is one of my very favorite ones that he has, the CD that you can go onto and look to. So there's lots of them up there. It's fun to explore it if you have a computer and you can go to YouTube. And it is free, all this stuff. Okay, so we are getting to the end of this session. And I would like to finish with some more meditation. Okay? We just now have listened to some beautiful music. We might have to, get up and move it for a moment because you've been sitting listening for the last hour. So if you want to get up and do a little bit of bounce or movement or something, you can. Otherwise, if you feel okay, just stay there. Because meditation is beautiful. invite in. And I was gonna teach you today how to do a sacred space, but I'll do it next week. Because there's different ways to set up sacred space energetically for an area where you're meditating. Okay, and maybe I should do that now instead. Okay, let's just meditate for a little bit. technique. Next week I have a couple more relaxing things to do for meditation. And in your folder that you're going to get papers today to take home is a combination of what I've done today. A lot of the kinds of things you can use for meditation. So there's a list of those and how you do them. And let's see. Next week is going to be fun. We'll have some different video clips that we're going to show you. And the thing about meditation, and that's why individual meditation is so powerful in the end, is that you're not dependent upon any other groups. Not that you don't want to go to groups and meditate. That's wonderful. But peace starts here, inside of yourself. And when you become more peaceful and more loving, because the more that you sit with meditation, it makes you happier, makes you more peaceful, and peaceful, happy people are more loving. Compassionate meditation is another one. There's a lot of meditations. One is the loving kindness meditation, where you sit and always remember, start to smile a little bit when you start to meditate. Gazing with love. I mean, it's like, there he is. It's wonderful. Okay? So feel that love, that happiness too, a little bit, or the feeling of being here, loving to be here. And that starts with you. And seek out. Next week I will also share with you a little deeper level yet of meditation. Okay? That takes you to another little level of working with meditation, which is great. And so there's a lot more to come. That's why I do 3 classes. And also you have between now and Tuesday more chance to find a space where you want to sit and meditate, where you want to make it your special space. And I will teach you how to do that. Set up a beautiful energy space for your meditation. And that's a nice thing, fun thing to do. And just different things you'll learn. Okay? Summation. But I want you to note, what's stopping you from meditating? You set up a time, you got your calendar, you put your times in each day when you want to meditate. What stops you if you don't? Because if you can figure out what stops you from doing something that you've committed that you think is good for you and beautiful for you, you might then find the key to what stops you for other things you think are healthy. But remember, it's a I want to do thing. It's not, well, I got to do my meditation today. No, won't work. That's why set up a beautiful space. Invite your mind to come in. Do the things that you enjoy, that are beautiful, and then sit, as you call them, sit in meditation. Remember, you're sitting with the higher power within yourself. You're connecting with that in a way that you don't connect out here with it. Not that you don't. That's a different thing. But there's a different sense of inner self. So is there any questions that you have now before we go? I think you'll see that there's lots of possibilities on there. I have a section on crystals. Now, you may or may not be into crystals. It doesn't matter. If you're into crystals, you can go ahead and read it. You may get something out of it. Because one of the things that I always like to do, not these two, but I have 2 crystals I love. And they feel good. And I sit with those when I meditate. Because they're one of those beautiful, calming things that I like. So that's why texture and beauty and feeling that can make a difference. And crystals will actually, there's a pattern. Crystals have a pattern in them. Each crystal is identified by its crystalline pattern. That's how you know one crystal from another, according to the experts. And how energy flows through those crystals, you're setting up your own connection as you sit with them. They'll automatically start to and kind of like accelerate some of that calming. It's just an interesting thing. It's not a whole workshop on that. But that is something with crystals that if you do have a nice feeling crystal that you like to sit with, that's a nice thing to have. Okay? because you know the feeling of the singing bowl is very powerful, very quick. So those are some things you might want to consider looking around. But for sure, between now and next Tuesday, think about what stops me if you stop. Okay, oh, I don't have time. You got 10 minutes. You know? And once you start doing the pre-meditation, that helps you get ready for bed. And when you are, if you want to use meditation for sleep, use a lot of this pre-meditation stuff. When you do your meditate, do a little like relaxing stuff that we've talked about. But to use the technique for sleeping, you let your eyes go down, like go down. Your head, your eyes go down. And then just say your calming word. And that's it. Don't focus. Just use the calming word for calming. And pretty soon, do it with breath. You can take your word with the breath as well. Deep breathing helps you go to sleep. Relax. Anybody ever wake up at 3 in the morning? That's very common as we get older. I hear it all the time. And it happens to all of us.
I'm like, oh God.
3 and 4 and 5.
Yeah. Well, that's where you want to take a couple of those techniques for breath and saying your word through your eyes and just saying the words slowly over and over, and pretty soon you're asleep. Because we wake up in the middle of the night because 60% of our dreams are anxiety-based. And for some reason, our biological clock, 3 to 4, between 2 and 4, we seem to wake up from an anxiety dream we don't really remember it even. But you'll feel it, because when you wake up in the middle of the night, don't you feel a little hyped? You don't feel calm? That's because something was happening when you were sleeping that hyped up your nervous system. So when you know that, you go, oh, okay, let me just do what I do otherwise to calm down. You know? So remember, you have tools for calming now. Anytime during the day or night. Okay? All right, well, if anyone ever has a problem, you can always call me. Call us. We'll give you our number in case you don't have it. Next week, I'll give you a little slip of paper with a couple of things that would be nice for you to have, for sites and things like that. Okay?
I have one.
And it is.
Yeah, thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you.
I hope
Thank
you
you.
have a wonderful week,
Yeah.
and we'll look forward to seeing you and hearing about how wonderfully everything is going.
Again, thank you.
Yeah,
Oh, you do?
on when we thought of our calming word.
Yes.
And what came to me is spirit, which always comes to me because it was my dog.
Oh, do you want it to be that word then? Does your
Well,
dog's image come up?
Yeah.
Okay, we don't want a word that gives us an image.
Yeah, it's
So even though you love spirit, pray for spirit otherwise. Think of them before you go into meditation, but choose a word that doesn't come up with any image. That's when we use a calming word and not a thing or a person. So even though, find another word if you could. Because you want to have something that, like, sometimes it's just calm or peace. You know, something simple like that, that the brain interprets as calming. Okay? So, yeah. Well, just try out one or two, but the main thing is not so much the word other than you just don't want an image to pop up.
right.
Okay?
Yes, she does. Here she comes running with her frisbee.
Oh.
She's not calm. She's
That's
not
so sweet.
calm.
Well, invite her in before. And have her say, go ahead and sit down. You know, but you don't want to do that for meditation. That's a crucial thing right there.
I found that out too because my dog is named Shiloh, which is peace and tranquility.
Yeah.
But that's not her.
Right.
That's just what I want of her. So if I say that, she's.
Some people like the word Om or Shanti.
That's what I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, because Om is just a nice word.
Yeah.
Shanti is another word for peace. So there's a lot of different kinds of words like that. But you want something that your brain will interpret as peace. Okay? All right? That's a good question. Thank you.
We did
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
What's your tuning fork
Yeah.
thingy?
Any other questions, Bill?
Did you bring that book from yesterday? I wanted to
Yeah.
just